What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to Tuesday night's late night agenda. Apologies, I'm a couple of minutes late. I just had a bit of an issue with the back end system that I had to sort out, but we are all good to go. There is a lot to unpack tonight, and I promise you, I am going to be happy about the signings that we're about to make, but I'm not taking my eye off the ball because this window has been about a centre-back and a defensive midfielder. And bringing in Federico Chiesa is absolutely fine, opportunistic, whatever phrase you'd like to use. But I believe we can't take our eyes off the prize. We still need to make sure that we get those reinforcements, or at least one of those positions before the window shuts. So that's what I want to know tonight. Yes, it's great to talk Chiesa, and we will. It's great to welcome MAMARDASHVILI to the Liverpool family, and we will. But we also got to continue to hold those owners accountable. And the lack of a centre-back or a defensive midfielder is not acceptable in this summer window. So we can't be too distracted. But of course, you've every right to be happy. A signing's a signing. Happy MAMARDASHVILI and Chiesa Day, Craig. Chilling in the hot tub while watching the stream. There we go. I mean, a bit of a flex there. Chilling in the hot tub. I like it. So look, let's talk about where we are with Chiesa. Fabrizio Romano, moments ago, said Liverpool... Here we go, pretty much. Again, sorry, I'm getting the very latest on this one. During talks on Monday, Federico Chiesa opened the door to Liverpool as he's super keen on the move. Negotiations are underway between all parties involved to get the deal done. Liverpool are confident. The only club to approach Juventus with formal contract offer or contact has been Liverpool. So we've seen lots of Barcelona talk over the past 24 hours, but like I've said all the way through, I don't see a way that Barcelona could have made this entirely plausible for them. They can't register Dani Olmo, a player they've already agreed, signed the paperwork on, and he's waiting for them to get another player out the door. So it was never really feasible that Federico Chiesa was an option for Barca if Liverpool came to the table, and it looks as if we are closing in on that one. But while it's well and good, and I very much welcome the signing of Federico Chiesa and Georgi MAMARDASHVILI, I still want the centre-back. And I still want the midfielder. So I don't know how you guys feel about it all. I'm a mixture of happy, but also not getting distracted by the shiny thing over here when we need a defensive addition. Eddie Cox-Wilkins, welcome in, my friend. Thank you for again joining Anfield Agenda FC. Olmo is registered, said Morton. Well, if he is registered, he's only been registered today, mate, because he wasn't registered yesterday when they were openly saying that they still needed to move a player out. So unless something's changed today, he is registered because of an injury now. Okay. Either way, they don't have the money to come in and make the deal sorted. So either way, I guess it's a moot point. He is registered, but there we go. They can't afford to sign him. And I was a bit concerned last night around the stuff coming from Di Marzio saying that Liverpool, how we're waiting to see if he wanted the move, to see what happens with Barca. I never believed for 1 second that Liverpool would have accepted that. Because why would you? Why would any self-respecting club who moved in for a player say, oh, okay, wait, well, hang on to see if the one you really want comes in? That's not the vibe you want from a player if you're looking to bring them in. And to be fair to Romano on this, he's always been positive about Chiesa and Liverpool since he broke the news on the story. And that's kind of why I've been so optimistic on it. Now, look, it isn't done yet. And we still have 3 days in this window. But my concern tonight, my friends, is more we still haven't seen a centre-back. Now, we are going to talk about one potential option tonight whose name has been mentioned, but signing an opportunistic attacker in this window is all very well and good. And I mean that sincerely. I welcome him to the club. I don't have anything against the idea of this signing. I think it's opportunistic in the right sense of the word. But it doesn't take away from the two priorities, which was midfield and defence. That's the two positions where I think over the course of a really busy season, we may come a little bit unstuck. So is this deal basically done? It looks that way, mate, yes. Now, nothing in football is done until it's done, but the language coming from Romano on this is extremely confident. He said Federico Chiesa wants to sign for Liverpool. It couldn't be any clearer on that one. So yes, I believe that this is a deal you will see done over the next 24, 48 hours. for very many reasons. Mostly, Juventus have to make a decision because they need to free up money for PSR and FFP stuff. They need to try and get some players in themselves. He's in the last year of his contract. Thiago Motta has told him he doesn't see him as part of the plans. So this is a perfect opportunity for Liverpool to come in and get a bargain. And that looks like what we're doing. And that's sound. I'm all for bargains. Nothing wrong with bargains. But we can't take our eyes off the prize, which is the two areas that we need to fix. It's no good continuously fixing the front of the car if the back of the car is falling to bits. And maybe I'm exaggerating there with the fall into bits, but you get my point. It's no good having a Ferrari on the front and not having a Ferrari at the back. Mamadou, thank you. And by the way, got loads of lovely emails from people over the last 24 hours sharing their own versions of how they came to watch the channel, what their daily routines are. And I want to again say thank you all so much. It's so beautiful to read these things and to be talking to people in Australia, Nigeria and other parts of the world who tune in to interact with us on a nightly basis. It is incredible. So much love to all of you for that. So let's get into where we are today and go through it all. You've probably seen MAMARDASHVILI in the Liverpool kit if you haven't already. That is officially done and dusted, announced, all sorted. Georgie MAMARDASHVILI is a Liverpool player. He's going to be on loan with Valencia for the season ahead, and then he'll become a Liverpool player next summer. And what happens with him and Alisson battling for the number one spot, we'll talk down the line. Plenty of time to figure that out. So that's done and dusted. Official, all done. We believe it's a 6-year contract. 1 year of that on loan, 5 years with him coming in to play for Liverpool. He turns 24 next month. So we're going to get him when he's coming to just about 25 years of age, which is perfect. So that's going to be glorious to look forward to. And I do look forward to the battle between himself and Alisson Becker in the future to see who gets that number one shirt, because I believe that's what will happen. I heard about Quinton Timber of Feyenoord. I've not heard anything on Quinton Timber. Well, actually, do you know what? That's a lie. I've not heard anything recently on Quinton Timber, David. His name was mentioned in the past. One name that I've seen mentioned today is Nathan Zeze. Excuse me if I've mispronounced that, but there is a piece today that said Liverpool are monitoring FC Nantes defender Nathan Zeze, according to reports from France. 19 years of age. Around 20 million euro was said to be the fee that would take to get this guy in. That's where my knowledge ends, my friends. I don't know anything about him. So, I want to ask a question in a poll. And I'm just thinking of how I phrase this. So bear with me for 1 second while I write this out. Okay, so I think this is the easiest way to word this. So I'm just asking, are you happy with this summer transfer window with Chiesa and MAMARDASHVILI? I think this is a really important question because I'm going to be honest about where I am in this situation. Let me get the poll up. For me, they're two good pieces of business on their own merits. If you take them at face value, I've got no issues with signing Chiesa. And absolutely not. In fact, I think they're both very good signings. But it still doesn't solve the issues I had coming into this window. And I don't want to be distracted. So I'm struggling to find this balance between being happy at the idea of Chiesa and very happy with MAMARDASHVILI. But I can't get away from the fact that this isn't distracting me one bit from the fact that we need a centre-back and a midfielder. And all these other things are just distractions in my mind at this moment in time. And they can't get away with it. That's another thing I want to say is we cannot let them away with not bringing in one of the two positions minimum that we wanted in this window. And we still don't know what's going to happen with Joe Gomez. It looks like we may see an offer. Crystal Palace looking at him and Chalobah as two options. Thoughts on Kadioglu to Brighton and Hove Albion. Love from 6 a.m. in Melbourne. I don't know too much about him. He's a left back, if I'm right. Is that correct? And look, if Brighton brought him in, their business has been quite good, you know. So I would say he certainly will have to have something about him if he's got the attention of Brighton. And they've been very good about picking up these guys for low fees as well. So, yeah, I don't know much about him, but I know I'm aware of the deal. Craig, 40 months with this amazing channel, said Scotty. WFM, do you think Zubamendi was a PR stunt? No, God, no. If Zubamendi was a PR stunt, it was the worst PR stunt in the history of PR, because it made them look worse. So I don't think... No, it isn't. Because there's a couple of reasons why I can say to you wholeheartedly it wasn't. One, our side didn't leak this. This wasn't Liverpool that were putting this story out there. Liverpool tried to keep a lid on the story, and it came out and then it spread quickly. So no, I don't think it was. It was a massive failure from everybody involved, but I don't think it was a PR stunt, mate. No. Raymond said, John W. Henry is either in acquisition mode or selling mode. He should be in the get the finger out, John, and get these signings sorted that we need. It's all very well and good with the opportunistic stuff, and I don't think any of us mind the opportunistic stuff one bit. But it can't take away from the fact that when this season gets into full swing, we're going to be showing up as being short in midfield and short in defence, and that needs to be addressed. And we keep talking about 3 days left, 4 days left. At some point we need to get this stuff done, and no more talking and leaving it, because the closer it gets to Friday 11 PM, the more risky that this is going to fall through and we'll end up with nothing, in my opinion. I think Alisson goes next season and MAMARDASHVILI replaces him. FSG would never have a 40 million backup keeper. Your views, and what about Bruno Guimaraes? So, start off with the goalkeeper situation. I have been thinking a lot about what the most likely situation is going to be with MAMARDASHVILI. And I look at it like this. Liverpool haven't been able to get the fee for Kelleher this summer that would have seen him move. So I wonder if next summer Kelleher gets the move to be a number one, and Liverpool then have MAMARDASHVILI there as a backup. But one thing I want to make clear about MAMARDASHVILI is, if you've looked into this guy's story, he doesn't care about not being the first choice. He came into Valencia as the fourth choice goalkeeper. Fourth. And within the space of a short time, he's become their number one. He's had a great Euros, and he's got himself a move to Liverpool Football Club. So if he comes in and we have him and Alisson going head to head for a year, maybe we get this situation where Alisson gets the Premier League, he gets the Champions League. I don't know. But I know that it's going to be an interesting battle between the two of them. And it does future-proof us for Alisson's departure, whenever that might be, and none of us want it to be anytime soon. So, the other part of your question, Bruno Guimaraes, he's not going to leave Newcastle. I think, has he been made captain there? And certainly there's talk of a new deal if he hasn't already signed one, so I don't think that's a possibility. And I don't think he's worth 100 million quid either, if I'm being honest, on Bruno Guimaraes. Essex Capoid said Craig wanted to apologise for disappearing. May, firstly, you never have to apologise for not being on a stream, bro. I appreciate you giving up your time. There's no expectation from my side. Mental health being shaky, and now my youngest daughter is in hospital with an IV drip. Very scared. That's completely understandable, bro. When any of my kids have been sick, I have been I fall to pieces. I'm a strong, determined person, but when my kids are sick, I'm like a baby. I'm terrible. So I understand it, and I hope she's okay. I really do, mate. Do keep us up to date and let us know how she's getting on. But from all of us, mate, nothing but love. We hope your daughter makes a full recovery and she's back home with you guys soon. Happy with the signing, said David Massett. We definitely need a centre-back and a defensive midfielder to challenge for the Premier League. I agree. And that's what this should be about, right? Us feeling like we can really challenge. Us feeling like we can really compete for the Premier League. I cut my fart, said Craig, I'm an Ajax fan. Why are FSG so cheap when they own one of the largest clubs in the world? Where is all the money going? I would be furious if I was a Liverpool supporter. Yeah, and I think you wouldn't be on your own, mate. Where the money goes is a question that I've been asking myself a lot over the last few months. And not from the perspective of thinking that they're siphoning it off somewhere, but it never makes sense to me. that we don't have the ability, because I believe we do, to spend money. Nor do I think our wage bill is as detrimental as it's been made out to be. A lot of stuff during this window has really made me sit up, take notice, and ask more questions that nobody will give me the answers to. And that's the frustrating part. Tell us that we have a high wage bill, tell us we can't afford to do it, but don't explain why. How about telling us why? The answer is, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, John W. Henry is cheap. John W. Henry doesn't give a damn. That's how I truly feel. And I'm open to anyone telling me I'm wrong if you want to explain to me exactly why I'm wrong. I'm not open to people coming in and shouting at us and telling us, oh, we're tickos who don't get it. So that's my take on the situation with our owners. Until they actually do what they're supposed to do, which is their part of the bargain, give us, the manager and the players, a team that can dream to go out there and win and not have to have everything go in our favour, every bit of luck, every risk taken pay off. That isn't good enough. So that's why I'm annoyed with them. Will Liverpool sell Núñez after this season? I don't think he fits Slot's system. I would say there's every chance if he doesn't have a belter of a season, he's moved on next year. And I don't think any of us could complain about it. I'm willing to give him this season, but he has to pull his socks up. He has to show that he deserves to start week in and week out. And right now, Diogo has the shirt. Deservedly has the shirt. It's up to Darwin to rip that shirt off him and show Arne Slot that he's the man. Because when he came on against Brentford on Sunday, nothing convincing about that little cameo. Nothing. And I say that as somebody who wants him to succeed. Oscar, how are you, bro? Said, with Joe linked to Palace, why not try Wharton? So, I'm not against, and I would suggest a lot of people in the chat are not against Wharton in any way, shape or form. But you have to have a willing seller as well. And Crystal Palace aren't going to want to completely strip their squad of all of its talent. They've lost Anderson. They may lose Gay. And then they've got to try and replace those. So that's why I mentioned Chalobah and Gomez as options for them. And I feel much more comfortable about the idea of Joe Gomez going to Palace than I would about him going to Villa. Because that would worry me. Strengthening a rival for a Champions League spot would worry me. But if he goes to Palace, I feel like it's just a good move for him where he gets to play first team football and it doesn't really impact us on a head-to-head basis. Of course, you don't want to lose Joe Gomez because of that versatility. But if we do lose him, we better bloody replace him. And that's the part that I want to try and make sure I get across tonight. Selling Joe is fine if you have a ready-made replacement lined up. If you don't, and I'm going to go one step further. We can't replace Joe with a roll the dice signing. Because you're replacing somebody who is very flexible, who is very loyal, and who is very dependable. So you need to replace him with quality and not potential. That's my take on it anyway. You can replace Van den Berg with potential all you want. But if you're replacing Joe, we need somebody for the here and now. Not another 18, 19-year-old kid for 3-4 years down the line. Hope that guy's daughter is back healthy soon. Thank you, mate. Big baddie baller. You're very kind. That's the type of sentiment I love about our community, mate. Chiesa, not a bad in a vacuum, but a luxury signing. Yes, Nick. I think that's more than fair. If I said to any one of you guys now, on its own merits, what you think of Federico Chiesa signing, we probably all go, can understand it. Especially at 10 to 12 million quid. It is the epitome of an opportunistic signing. And a good one. And worth the risk-reward ratio in my mind anyway. Keep up the good work. Mental health check, said Jordan Lawson. So, on the mental health aspect, mate, I am starting to flag in that regard. I am struggling a little bit more because it's been such a hectic couple of months. And I'm very much in need of the break I'm getting next week when I go on holiday. So, yeah, I did kind of check myself yesterday to say, I think I'm going slightly downhill here and I need a break mentally because it's been a very busy, hectic last couple of months and I'm delighted for that. But I definitely do need a reset for a few days. Liam said, MAMARDASHVILI reminds me of Petr Cech and Courtois will be Alisson's understudy and still has 2 seasons with us, including this one. would love Schlotterbeck. I wish I had a name for centre-back, but I haven't. I've tried so hard, and nobody I'm speaking to seems to have a name or any confidence of, if there is a centre-back, who that centre-back is. Genuinely, it's a mystery to me. So I'm starting to get more concerned that they sell Gomez and don't replace him. And that, I don't believe, can be viewed as anything other than intentionally weakening the team, if that happens. I can't even comprehend the level of stupidity if they do that. So right now, 2 deals look like they're about to happen. One is done, one about to happen in Chiesa. But it still doesn't solve what we wanted at the start of this window, which is eyes on the prize, centre-back and a defensive midfielder. Farron Davies said, I love Darwin, but I genuinely, be honest, I think he's got till Christmas, or I think they'll sell him in January, regardless of if it means selling him cheap. I don't think that's unfair. And I also think I would almost bet my life that Michael Edwards wouldn't have signed Darwin Núñez if he was at the club. Because the sample size of success for Darwin isn't consistent enough. It's one season at Benfica that he just did everything. He scored a load of goals, played well against us, and we're not seeing that same Darwin on a consistent enough level. So whatever your own personal marker is for when you write him off, I can understand it. I can understand people who can say right now they don't think he's good enough. I'm not there. I'm at the point of giving him this season, but it hasn't been good enough so far since he's come into the club. It hasn't. This season's been a really difficult one to get any reading of the situation because he hasn't had enough time on the training pitch. All we have is that little sample size of the game against Las Palmas, which was a very meh game in general, and of course the 20 minutes or so, whatever it was, he got against Brentford, where ironically we were offside once in that entire game, and it was when he came on. Fidget said, Chiesa sounds exciting. I think we are getting Osimhen. Well, you've been linked with him and Tony today from what I'd seen, mate. Now, I'm not keeping an eye on Chelsea's transfer business, so I don't know. But Ivan Toney and Victor Osimhen are the 2 names that have been doing the rounds that I've seen. Goalkeeper or Santiago would fare better, said Jabbar. Yeah, in my mind, Goalkeeper is kind of a potential possibility. Stylistically, I think he would probably be in and around. I don't know enough about Santiago Jimenez, who, of course, Arne Slot would know all about, having coached them at Feyenoord. What do you think of Gravenberch's first 2 games? I think he's amazing. Look, I like Gravenberch. I've been completely won over because I'm not going to lie, when we were signing him last year, I said I'm unsure about this signing. It bugged me that he's moved and didn't get a look in. And then he came to Liverpool and Klopp didn't really give him a proper look in either. But Arne Slot has believed in him, and I think that will be to the benefit of us in the long term. I still don't think he's ever going to be a world-class number 6 in the next year or 2. It'll take time, and I don't believe we have that time. So I would like to see us bring in somebody that at least puts the pressure on, gives us options. Endo, look, Endo's a likeable, lovable guy, but whatever way you want to dress it up, the manager doesn't rate him with the job he needs him to do, and we need to bring somebody else in there. I just would be absolutely amazed right now, and I mean amazed, if we signed a midfielder at this point. Yeah, I'd be amazed. I don't see it happening, unfortunately. Unless they're working on a masterclass that's very quiet. But again, how much can you realistically do in the last 3 days? Craig, if we got Chiesa and Branthwaite, window out of 10. Chiesa, Branthwaite, MAMARDASHVILI, players that have gone out. In your scenario, have we sold Joe Gomez, Anthony? I'm gonna imagine we have. 6.5 out of 10. We wouldn't have addressed the potential for a need of a left back. We wouldn't have addressed central midfield. So, yeah, I think a 6.5 out of 10 is fair. On his own merit, Branthwaite would be a great signing, but I mean, maybe I'm being unfair here. Let's look at it another way. We had been told at the start of this window, centre-back, midfielder, and utility forward. The utility forward could be boxed off with Chiesa, so that could be done. If you get a centre-back in, and if it was Branthwaite, that would be more than acceptable. So then you're just missing the midfielder, who we did try but failed to get. Maybe a 7, but certainly we wouldn't have achieved all of our ambitions in the window. It took John to come to Anfield to get players in, said Daryl Mercer. I would love to know exactly what conversations or what he did while he was over. Did he really sit down just to welcome Arna in, be that first home game, or was he here to really talk turkey, for want of a better phrase, with the sporting director and Michael Edwards? Soren, really appreciate your super chat, mate. Said, with Ownbeck, Kyler Morton, Stefan Bajcetic and Gomez leaving, my fear is that we'll spend too much time with the Chiesa deal only to lose to Barca and then miss out on a defender and midfielder. We don't have enough depth in the squad. I think that is a rational fear. And I've seen, let me read you out a tweet today, which Romano actually responded to. Let me read it out to you though. So it was a guy saying, Romano is being paid by Chiesa's agent to put out there that Liverpool needs to hurry Barca open to signing him. It's so obvious. And Romano replied saying, I love your hate. A bit of a weird reply there, but so you're not the only one who has that fear. It is certainly something that Liverpool fans are concerned about. Right now, how do I say this? I'm happy about Chiesa, but if it fell through, I wouldn't lose a second sleep over it either. I'd be more annoyed about the lack of getting the signings in that we need to get done, which is midfield and centre-back. So Chiesa is a good signing, but not a lose any sleep if it doesn't happen signing, nor is it a good enough signing that changes the outlook on this window for me. Ownbeck, Kyler Morton and Bajcetic. Ownbeck going out on loan to Blackburn for the season. That's done and announced by the club. Bajcetic looks like he's going over to join Salzburg on loan for the season to go with Pep Linders. And who was the other one on your list? Tyler Morton. I think that's a belter of a deal if it goes through. Him going on loan to Leverkusen would be incredible for us and for him. I think that's a good deal. Totally understand, Soren, where you're coming from about a lack of squad depth because you're losing Bajcetic and Morton to potential number 6 or number 8 options. But you would have to imagine at least one of those might have a termination clause in there, giving Liverpool a chance to bring one of them back if indeed we did have a really serious injury problem. What do you think of Dom's form and future at number 10? I think it's been a bright start to the campaign from Dominic Szoboszlai. Last year was too inconsistent from Dom, and we need to get that right. But I feel like the style of football and the way he'll be asked to play from Arna will probably suit him a bit better. So I'm expecting a big season from Dom. And remember, he's still only, 23 years of age? So he's still got development left in him as well. Do I like Sam Fender? No, I don't. Don't dislike, don't like, don't really have any emotion on it. Who is Chiesa? He is a forward who can operate all 3 positions across the front line. He is an Italian international. He started his career at Fiorentina, I believe, or at least broke onto the scene at Fiorentina. Got a move to Juventus. He is in the last 11 months of his Juve deal, and the new manager doesn't fancy him. So he's available for a very, very good fee. 2-3 years ago, Liverpool and Chelsea were looking at him and they were quoted about €100 million. So I think this is worth the risk for Chiesa. And it is a risk. There's no denying that. It is a risk. What's this one? So, transfer deadline day have said James Ward-Prowse's representatives have been actively contacting Premier League clubs to try and generate interest in the midfielder. I sincerely hope Liverpool didn't answer the phone, because I don't want Ward-Prowse anywhere near Liverpool. When do you think we get to Here We Go on Chiesa? Oh God, that's, I mean, within 24 hours, Eddie, but I'm trying to figure out if we're going to see him on a plane or if he does his medical in Italy. I mean, Romano's very confident on this one. I mean, he's basically said it's done. Negotiations between Liverpool and Juventus for Chiesa are progressing, was one comment. Another one is negotiations underway. All parties involved want to get the deal done. Liverpool are confident. It isn't that difficult a deal to sort out. They want to sell. He has no future at the club. He's in the last year of his deal. There isn't a bidding war. It's a pretty straightforward deal. Get him for somewhere between 10 and 12 million pound, about 12 to 15 million euro. And then it's down to the wages, which Romano has assured us yesterday in his post wouldn't be an issue. So yeah, I think this one could move and should move very quickly. No risk but waste of money. Is it though? Like, as an example, if Mo picked up a hamstring injury next week and was out for 8 to 10 weeks, you won't win a league in 8 to 10 weeks, but you may lose a league in 8 to 10 weeks. And we don't have enough cover for Mohamed Salah on that side. So I don't think it's a waste of money. I think it's a calculated risk that's worth the investment. Like Shaqiri, when we brought him in, those numbers made sense. Was it 12 million from Stoke at the time? This makes sense because he can plug a hole that may appear. Or at least he can give Mo a rest. Maybe now we see Mo come off at 70 in a few games where Chiesa comes on. It's one of those things that outside of the window and the objectives that we had in the window, this is the opportunistic signing that we were told about. And for me, as critical as I am and will be of many bits of business we do, I think this is, for me, worth the risk. Another super chat. Let me just get this up and say thank you again. So, Eddie said, do you think he'll be on a plane tonight? Well, you would hope that these things move quickly because we have other things we need to sort out. So, we need to get cracking. And I would imagine that we haven't got time to dwell on this and argue over £500,000 here or there. Just get the deal agreed, get him on the plane and move on to the next bit of business. I hope that's what we see, which is why I'm hopeful we see this move quickly. For your information, mate, Gyökeres is pronounced with a D instead of a G, has Hungarian roots, and interestingly enough, the name literally means rooted in Hungarian. I tell you what, Mackie man, I'd make you a promise, bro. If we sign him, I will do everything I can to learn the pronunciation correctly, even if it means a little call with yourself so you can help me on that pronunciation. But for now, yeah, for now he's just a potential. I don't know how else to describe it, mate. But if we do have any interest, I promise you I'll learn how to pronounce his name correctly. And I always appreciate any help on those pronunciations. Joshua Andrews, thank you, mate, for your super chat. You didn't put a comment in, but appreciate your support. Right, Tobias said, hello, mate. Have you got any ideas on a Chiesa chant? Oh, I'm not down near the chanting stuff after Zubamendi, mate. I'm staying well clear. Whatever the majority decide, I'll sing along to it. But yeah, I'm not going to try and be the creative force because, you know, I'm a jinx, don't you know? Big Buddy Baller said, thank you for the membership, whoever gifted it. Appreciate that, mate. Craig Morton again, thank you, mate, for your super chat. You didn't put in a comment, but appreciate your support. Carl said, do you think FSG regret missing out on Bellingham? Do I think they regret it? No. Should they regret it? Abso-fucking-lutely, yes. But no, I don't think so, because honestly, I don't think... I just look at John and I don't see anything other than a cold number crunching geek. And I'm sure he is a loving guy. He's got kids, a wife. He must have that side to him. But he never shows it. He never comes across as a warm person when I see him interacting with Jurgen or anything. Even the fans yesterday, when somebody asked about signings, just to not even acknowledge their existence. He's not an easy man to like, is what I'd say. But they better regret it, because they should regret it. Do you think Chiesa is the Salah replacement? No. 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 He can't be. Because even at his very best, he won't do anywhere near Mo numbers. He's a good addition, but it's just a little bit of... how would I describe this in a very clear way? It's like another portion of apple crumble when you haven't had your dinner, is the fairest way I'd say. It's a nice little sweet treat, but it's not going to really satisfy you and the urge that you need, which is a nice home-cooked meal. And we need a nice home-cooked meal, i.e. a centre-back and a midfielder. So, no, I don't think he's the replacement. Sean said, I worry Chiesa transfer will push Elliott out. Well, to be fair, competition is competition. And at a club like Liverpool, you should always expect competition. So if it does make it a little bit more difficult for Harvey Elliott, then I expect Harvey Elliott to respond, because I think he's a great player. I also don't see Elliott personally as a right-sided attacker or even an attacker. I see him more as a number 10. But competition is healthy, and Mo doesn't have any at the minute. So apparently Chiesa's been liking a few Liverpool players' posts as well on social media. So it definitely does look like this one's moving along. I was a bit concerned last night with the whole Di Marzio stuff, but Romano seemed very confident on this one, and I will question a lot about him, but his knowledge of Italian football is not something I'm going to start questioning. So this is, I'm happy about it, but I'm still annoyed that we don't know the centre-back situation. And let's check in on the poll, because we asked earlier on, are you happy with the window with Chiesa and MAMARDASHVILI? And good, 67% of you said, no, Craig, we aren't happy with this window with Chiesa and MAMARDASHVILI. And you shouldn't be. So well in for keeping your eyes on the prize, because this can't be a distraction from the failures. And so far, there have been failures. David Lowe said, this has been a shocking transfer window once again. Big team, cheap options. Mate, I'm fully in agreement with you. These owners, in my opinion, just don't have the stomach or the will or the desire to really, really go all in to win. And I'm not talking about jeopardising the club. Everything about them just makes me feel like they're just number crunching geeks who don't give a shit. And that to me isn't good enough. And for all the little faux pas and mistakes they've made, I'm willing to look past those, because they're, some of them, irrelevant or learning errors. But to not invest in the squad, to not keep your team competitive, to not know what you're up against with regards to Arsenal, Manchester City, and even Manchester United this season, who are cutting costs left, right and centre, not giving out the old packed lunches and everything, and they're out there doing 150, 200 million quid worth of business. And we finished third and are hearing about beating 82 points from a new manager and wanting to win leagues. Well, you need to actually make people believe we can win the league, and not bringing in a midfielder and a centre-back is unacceptable on every level. I'd go further and say we've worsened our stance, because now the desperation level for the future number 6 is through the roof. And we've messed up many, many deals. Tchouaméni wanted to go to Madrid, fair enough. Caicedo, we look like an absolute bunch of spoofers failing with that one. Lavia, again, was a disgrace. And for Zubimendi to fall through and the club to give him as long as they did, to allow the other club to change his mind, I think is stupid and naive. Give him 48 hours, and if he needs longer than that, you've got your answer. Farron Davies said, who knows, Chiesa could be the replacement. They both played for Fiorentina, both had 77 career goals when Liverpool came in. You never know. Hey, look, I promise you, Farron, if he comes in and starts doing Mo numbers, I won't be on here complaining, bro. I will be on here talking about another bargain. And I don't mind bargains that work out well. Andy Robertson's one of my favourite Liverpool signings of all time, because we basically swapped Kevin Stewart for him. And I think we can say we got the better of that one. Carl said, who is a generational talent? Please help. Somebody who has an undoubted talent, but according to our way of looking at things, doesn't expect to play too much, doesn't expect too many wages, and can't be looked at by any other team in the world, because Liverpool don't want to go in and battle with anyone for players. So that's my definition of a generational talent through the eyes of our owners. So basically a mythical figure like a unicorn that doesn't exist. Rory said, Craig, I'm sure a centre-back is coming, hoping against hope, or maybe just hoping against FSG. Keep up the good work. For me to be happy, Rory, really, really happy, I wanted the centre-back when we sold Van den Berg. So for me, 5 centre-backs is a must going into a campaign as rigorous as this one, with 1 injury-prone centre-back in Canade, 1 young centre-back still learning his way in Kwanzaa, and Virgil, whom we don't know the future of past the end of this season. So before we sell Gomez, I'm thinking we need a centre-back. If you sell Joe Gomez, you best be bringing in a world-class centre-back who none of us have any qualms or doubts about, because it's a big risk otherwise. So I guess it views how many steps backwards you think we've taken with selling 2 centre-backs. Ideally, I'd like a centre-back and a left-sided defender that can cover at centre-back as well. But I guess maybe I'm being greedy, I don't know. Adam Christmas said, Fabio sold for 20 million, Chiesa for 12 million, great work. Yes, as I've said, mate, on the face of it, I have no issues with stuff like that. The Carvalho deal on its own right was a fair deal. The Sepp van den Berg deal in its own right was a fair deal. We got good money there. And bringing in Chiesa to replace Carvalho, if you look at it purely through those eyes, I'm happy with that as well. But, you know, we need to keep focused on the centre-back situation and the midfield situation, which is our Achilles heel, for want of a better phrase. Michael Lynch said, hey Craig, hope you're keeping well. Come on the Anfield Agenda family. Smash that like button. This window was not being great. So I got my first ticket update from the live show in Liverpool. And wow, you guys are moving fast. I didn't expect the number of tickets to be gone that have been gone just yet. So if you do want to come and see us, you can get your tickets with the link at the top of the chat or in the description. Amazingly, we're almost about 40% sold, and we've barely done any publicity on them. So if you want to come along, you know what to do. You can get your tickets with the link in the chat or in the description of the stream, and it is an all-ages event again, so everybody can come along. Right, let me get this one up. Royal Warzone. Thank you. You didn't put a comment in, bro. Thank you for your super chat nonetheless. Benjamin said, I have a feeling if Darwin goes, don't quote me, a good source, but we get Osimhen. It seems plausible we couldn't sell him surely for the sake of it. So, on Osimhen, I'll be amazed if he's still a Napoli player at the end of this window. So, the idea of us maybe finding a way to sell Darwin and bring him in over the course of 2 to 3 days, I don't see that being feasible. So that's why I don't think that whole thing is feasible, mate. I don't think, one, you move Darwin on before the end of this window, and if you do, if you don't, I don't think Osimhen's going to be around come January or the summer. Chelsea are trying to get him, and I think PSG, maybe I'm wrong on that one. Steve Jenkins said, looks like Slot is looking for 2 players in each position to rotate it and rest, adding to the playing keep ball in the last quarter of games to reduce injuries. And Steve, I'm very much on board with that. You know, I think what he's done with Trent over the first 2 games of the season is really clever. I think giving him those 20-minute breaks, yes, it might be annoying for Trent to come off, but it's about saving him for the season. Did the same with Robbo in the first game as well. And Mo. This is good squad management to me. Doing it when the game is won as well, by the way. He's not doing it when it's 1-1 and we're looking to go and win the game. He's doing it when we've won the game and we look comfortable. So I've no problem with that either. Stargirl, how are you, my friend? Always lovely to see you in. Said, I've only just gotten in, but is Boychechich getting sold? I don't know who is leaving and being brought in. Thanks again for everything. So, no, it'll be a loan to Salzburg for Stefan Bajcetic for the season. Obviously, Pep Linders knows all about Stefan, working with him. And he's brought over Bobby Clark already, so it looks like he's trying to bring him in there and give him some experience. So I think a loan there. Owen Beck gone to Blackburn today on loan as well, star girl. What else are we looking at today with regards to outgoings? Tyler Morton, we're still waiting to see what happens there. Will he go to Leverkusen or not on loan? But I've not heard anything new on Ben Doak, by the way, in or out, loan or sale. So if anybody else has read something on that, feel free to let us know. Thanks for everything you do. Keep it up, said Luca MCD. Oh, mate, look, please never feel any need to thank me for anything, bro. I love this just as much as hopefully you guys love coming in and watching with us. So, let me get to more of your comments. What wages are Chiesa looking like? So, I think he's on about 160 at Juve. Maybe, I think it's 160. I don't know what the negotiations are for a number from to get wages at Liverpool. I don't know. I'd be surprised if Liverpool are going to give him 160. I would imagine we're going to probably try to get that downwards, maybe 120 with some add-ons or achievable bonuses. But I'm guessing here. I don't know the number involved. Seen on Twitter, Bruno Guimaraes links truth. So there's definitely truth to Bruno Guimaraes being somebody Liverpool have eyed up. I don't know of anything to say that we're about to make a move. I'm almost certain he's come out himself over the summer and said that he's going to stay at Newcastle, that he loves Newcastle. Other than that, I don't know anything. You're going to see lots of rumours over the next few days, of course. Some of it absolute nonsense. Some of it ended up being like the Chiesa thing that just comes out of nowhere. So the truth is, mate, I don't know if there's any interest in Bruno Guimaraes before the window closes or not. But I do know I don't want us to pay 100 million quid for him because I don't think he's worth it. All the flapping since the transfer window opened, screaming for FSG to get out of our club, and now we're signing players. Do you want FSG to stay? No. You say flapping. Like, let me just put this very clearly to you, Royal Navy veteran. And I'm being respectful of your background here. You say flapping like I'm doing it just for effect. Everything that I say, I feel from my soul. I mean sincerely. It's not flapping. I'm telling you what we need to address in the squad. The deficiencies we all pretty much agree on. And again, I'm not... Go watch all of my videos and tell me how many times you've heard me say this summer FSG out. You heard me moan at them. You heard me say, where's the money, John? And yes, I guess I kind of would be on the side of FSG out. But should I be grateful for crumbs off the table? Do you not think, genuinely, mate, and again, respectful of your service, that we are being taken for mugs? Like, FSG don't have the backbone to go out there and sign world-class talent consistently and bring them in. The only times we've done it is when we've made a lot of sales. So, I want to be respectful, but I want you to be coming in from a perspective of at least being sincere, you know. So no, I don't want FSG to stay because I don't believe they have the ambition to want to win. And I mean that not for sensationalism, from every fibre of my being. I don't see owners there that really want to build a dynasty and win a lot. You're entitled to a different opinion, mate, and I respect your opinion. But I promise you, I don't do this stuff for effect. This is how I feel. Jeff, always lovely to see you. And Jeff said, hi Craig and awesome community. The reason I watch Anfield Agenda is due to your fantastic humour, your beautiful Irish accent and your integrity. Your unparalleled match commentary. Love you. Well, thank you, mate. Look, I like to think that I'm a reflection of the community we've built around us, which is sincere, kind, honest people who just want the best for the club. And I don't think we should ever be mocked for that. As I said, I'm not one of these people that goes down rabbit holes and believes FSG are siphoning off money, or I'll call it as I see it. And I don't know how anyone can look at this window or past windows and not feel a bit let down. That's all I'm saying. If FSG got their finger out over transfers and actually did what our competitors are doing, bringing in the one or two top level players every year to keep you competitive, you wouldn't really hear me talking about them too much because they'd just be background noise. I'm here to support the manager and the players. But during these windows, it's the only time we get a chance to be vocal. So I'm going to say this again. In Barcelona and Real Madrid, or in many other walks of life, you get to hold people accountable. If Barcelona's president isn't performing, or Real Madrid's president Perez isn't performing, they can be voted out. They don't own the clubs there. They're the presidents of the clubs, voted for by the socios, the members. We don't have that luxury when we're looking at our owners. So the only way that we can push back is like we did with the Super League. Let them know very clearly that, yes, they have the leeway to do what they like with the club. They own it. But there are ramifications for incorrect decisions. And fans aren't just stooges who are going to sit by and allow you to do whatever the hell you want, even if we think it's to the detriment of the club. Danny LaRue said, "Evening Craig, hope you and the family are good. The Chiesa deal will be good business. A new centre-back would need to be ready to go if Joe leaves. Don't think we'll get a DM. I agree with everything you've written there, and I agree with you on not getting a DM as well. I don't think... I'd love to be surprised with one, but yeah, very much has been the case that most of the media talk has been after we missed out on Zubimendi that we don't expect to find another alternative." So Matt Thielen, one of the founders of LFC Transfer Room, said Liverpool aren't done just yet. DM, centre back and left back still areas of interest. Buckle in, the end of this window could be quite busy for Hughes and co. Excellent. I really hope that's the case, because for those people who think I moan about the owners for the sake of it, just answer me this question. Do you think if we sign a centre back and a midfielder that I won't come on here and say, brilliant, well done, we got this window sorted? Because I promise you I will. That's all I want. I want to look at that team and that group and believe that we can win. And if we do the business that most of us and the journalists feel we needed to get done, even if it is at the end of the window, I promise you I'll be on here happy as a pig in shite. Look back to when I thought we were getting Zubimendi or Caicedo, and I can't fake that level of happiness, nor can I fake the level of frustration when we don't get it right. So that's all I can keep saying is I'm going to keep being me, warts and all. You mightn't agree with everything I'm going to say to you, but it is my honest, genuine, sincere opinion of how I view the situation at the club. Craig, are we a really poor club, or is there money there but it isn't used? Because why do we always have to sell players to buy? It makes me crazy. So there's nothing wrong with a club being self-sustaining, Mohammed. And I don't think any of us would argue that there is. But when you are turning over the amount of money the club is, and you know what the wage bill is with regards to percentage of turnover and percentage of money in, it does make you ask, if we could spend 110 million on Caicedo, how all of a sudden are we nickel and diming? Is it that there is an algorithm, a perspective, a model that we don't understand, where everything has to be right and everything has to be perfect? And that's fine if you can get results with that model. But if this model is proving as problematic as it is for us to bring in a central midfielder over the course of 3-4 seasons, then you'd have to say, are we overthinking this? Are we trying to be too clever? How can you allow 3 or 4 years to go by and not strengthen that one position? So yes, we have money. How they spend the money, of course they do have their own thought process on, but none of us really ever get that explained to us. All you're going to hear is self-sustaining, they spend what they can, but they don't back that up by showing us how they spend what they can or how they're not able to spend more. It's just, trust me bro, and that I don't trust. Jack Nichol said, when is the Champions League draw? It is Thursday at 5 o'clock and we will be live for it here on the channel, mate. So Make sure you do come and join us for that one. Mr. Ipswich Town, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you back in again. So, good evening. Personally, I think Liverpool are too big for Chiesa. No offence. He will frustrate you. I watch a lot of Italian football. I mean, I appreciate how highly you think of our club, mate. Thank you. And I'm not expecting miracles from Chiesa. I'm expecting him just to give us an option if Mohamed is injured or fatigued or anything like that. And the more competition and options we can have, the better. And I'm viewing this as an opportunistic signing. And the risk-reward ratio for me, looking at the numbers involved, seem worth the risk. But I definitely won't be expecting miracles from Chiesa. My expectations for what he's going to do are probably in line with that price tag. So I don't see much of a downside to it. But of course, I always appreciate another perspective. And thank you for sharing your thoughts. And again, I want to reiterate, like I did the last time I spoke to you, really hope you guys can stay up. Really do like what McKenna has done. Your fans were awesome in the first game. Welcome back to the Premier League. And you play some good football, mate. You play some good football. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you guys back established in the Prem in the years to come. Right, we are only 25 likes away from hitting 1,000 again. So you know what to do, my friends. So let's have a look at the poll and we'll end this one. Are you happy with the window with Chiesa and MAMARDASHVILI? 66% of almost 5,000 votes say no, we aren't happy with Chiesa and MAMARDASHVILI. And you're right not to be, because that isn't the objective going into this window. Nothing wrong with the opportunistic stuff. And again, I'm not trying to say there isn't. On their own merits, both of these deals have absolute good intentions and good justification to them. And I'm on board with both of them. But not at the expense of not getting the other two bits done. That's the stuff we need to get done. So when this hits 5,000 votes, we'll knock it on the head. I want to get you guys to remind me of a poll. I promised somebody I'd do. I won't get a chance to do it today, but remind me in the coming days. And the poll that they asked me to do was, who was Liverpool's hardest ever midfielder? So their toughest midfielder. I know Souness is probably going to be the answer. But again, remind me of that in a few days, because I want to put that poll up after the window shuts. Love the content, said Zamel. Keep going. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate your support. Right, do keep hitting that subscribe button though, because we are on the road towards 300,000 subscribers, and every single one of you that hits that button makes a big difference. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. Right, we've hit the 5,000 votes, so here's the results of the poll. Are you happy with Chiesa and MAMARDASHVILI in this window? And you've said no. 66% say no, 34% say yes. Sean said, embarrassing owners FSG. Out FSG make cheap buys. We need to start spending on players and stop buying two players. It's not enough for Liverpool, said Scott Palmer. I'm on board with all of that, mate. They don't act like they're running one of the biggest clubs in world football. They just don't, in my opinion. And outside of the windows where we brought in Alisson and Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk, I don't remember us really doing any wow business. Where, like, you can argue about Darwin, to be fair, because there was a lot of attention around him in that signing. That's the only one I can really think of that I've gone, wow, that's ambitious. Can we have a position about what? Can we have a poll about what position? Yes, that's a really good idea. Punctual Grain. Let me get that poll sorted for you now, my friend. Good shout. Appreciate your input. Centre back, left back, right wing, CDM. Right, I'm going to go exactly as you've asked. 1 second. Right, so what position's most important to get sorted? Let me get some answers in. DM. Okay, no, I'm going to write that out better. So defensive midfielder. Centre back. Another option. Left back. And what was the third one you said, mate? Where was it gone? Right wing. Okay, second. Right. So, what position is the most important to get sorted? Defensive midfielder, centre back, left back, right wing. There you go. That poll is live. Vote away. And thank you for the suggestion, mate. Really appreciate it. Super chat in from Mark. Mark Bavin said, what squad number do you think Chiesa will get? Ooh, good question. Trying to flick through my brain now to see what's available. God. Yeah, 14 is one that I could see. 77. 14's a decent show. That's what, well, fair play. The chat are mostly saying 14. Slim Biggin says 27. 22 for Riley. 14 seems like a very good answer. So I'm going to jump on the bandwagon that you guys have gone with and say 14. Oscar said, imagine Edwards with Bowley. John W. Hunker cooking. I mean, yeah, Todd Bowley's probably a bit too far in the other direction for my liking. A bit too over the top. What's this? So, this can't be... Something's just been sent to me from an Arsenal account that said Arsenal are interested in signing Darwin Núñez before Friday's transfer deadline. Player keen on a move to London, work under Mikel Arteta and win trophies, and Liverpool willing to sell. Improbable but not impossible. So, there's one thing I'd push back on in that comment, and it seems to be this belief that he won't win trophies with Liverpool. So he's already won one last year. Arsenal are doing really well and have a damn good team, but have to win something. And there's no, like, he wrote that like it was a gimme that he's going to win trophies. Arsenal haven't won anything since that FA Cup, if my memory's not mistaken. And Arteta needs to deliver at some point or face the wrath. Because I think he's gotten too easy of a ride from the media. The love-in for Arteta is baffling to me because he hasn't delivered enough. He hasn't delivered anything to suggest that he's going to be able to overturn City this year. And I think he might, but the way that was written was from the perspective of that feels arrogant is the word I'd use. So people are saying it's a fake account. It's not a fucking journalist account. Like, I'm not trying to come on here and say a journalist said this. I said some Arsenal fan account has said this. So again, didn't say it was a journalist, didn't say it was credible. Said it was sent to me and I find it hard to believe. Craig, have you seen Dermot Gallagher talking about the Jolinton incident? Ridiculous how he defends the refs. Look, I don't understand what the point of ref watch is, nor do I understand what the point of mic'd up is when you've got softball questions being lobbed at them and absolutely ridiculous answers. So I don't watch it because it drives me fucking insane looking at the mental gymnastics that these lads do to try and justify what is shambolic refereeing. And also, Anthony Taylor was your referee for the game against Manchester United. Altrincham fan Anthony Taylor from Greater Manchester is your referee at Old Trafford. Who's that on VAR, you say? Don't you worry, it's only Mr. John Brooks. Remember old John? What could possibly go wrong here? I said to Connor earlier on, it feels like the PGMOL are baiting us again into a reaction. How do you go and put Anthony Taylor again in charge of a game between Liverpool and their Manchester rivals It's it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And even if we all believe that Anthony Taylor is above reproach, and he probably is, it's not a good look, is it? Having, again, a Manc or Greater Manchester-based referee in charge of a game between Liverpool and United. It just... Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be amazed if we come out of this game without one massive incident that we're all annoyed about. Adam said, Craig, you got anything in the works for when, not if, you hit 300,000 subscribers? Cut a line with the Liverpool show. Imagine the scenes. Haven't thought about it. Because I don't take it as a given that we'll get to 300,000 subscribers. So when we get there, we get closer, then maybe I'll give it a bit of thought. But yeah, if it lined up with the Liverpool show, that'd be amazing. CH said, Chiesa is just another Arthur Melo in terms of injury. He's a crocked player coming to the most physical league in the world. Do the maths. Payday. So, last season, he certainly wasn't crocked. He did miss a lot of football before that with that ACL injury. And yes, he has injury concerns. But you're taking that into account with what you're paying. Last year, I think he missed 12 games and played 37. Something like that. Which is decent enough availability. Not perfect, of course. But I just think it's worth the risk on its own as a signing. But I'm not here to run your doubts down, because they're not, you're not just pulling this out your arse. Like, he has had injury records and he has had injury problems, and he could very well be a headache and another frustration. But as I keep saying, for me, the risk reward ratio is worth the risk. The Glazers or FSG, who would you say is worse? 1,000,000 times the Glazers. I don't think FSG are the worst owners in the world by a long, long way. I probably agree with 70% of what FSG have done. But for me, the things I've disagreed with have been big, big things. The Super League, I think 99% of us disagreed with. And that, to me, was them showing who they really are. No thought for the traditions, the European Cup. Just a closed shop with money guaranteed to them as owners, and no sporting merit attached to it, and no consultation. Just wake up one day to be told, well, this is happening, deal with it. That was a stab in the back. And the apology didn't change my mind on it, because he'd do it again tomorrow if he thought he'd get away with it, in my opinion. So we got to see who they really are. Investment bankers, hedge fund operators who are in it to make money. And that's okay, as long as you're keeping the team competitive and giving us a chance to win. If you're not, then you're going to get the wrath of the fan base. And that Super League, to me, I don't know how any single fucking human being can think that that Super League was acceptable, or that that apology was real. He was apologising because he was caught with his pants down. He was apologising because he miscalculated the ability of football fans to come together, mobilise and kill the Super League. That's all he was apologising for. And I don't trust them. On top of that, we're talking about no window of the one or two top level signings that we need again. So as of right now, as I sit here, I'm still really angry. But if by the time this window shuts on Friday, we get in a midfielder and a centre back, as I've said all along, I will be on here saying we've done what we needed to do in this window. Now it's over to the manager and players. But whilst we haven't, I think it's on us to continue to be vocal and keep that pressure on. That's how I look at it. Would I have oil money? No, not a chance. So I don't like the words oil money, because that insinuates that there's a problem with a certain part of the world. And I've no problem with any owners of any club that are businessmen or women who've made their way and want to buy it. I don't like the term oil money because I feel it's derogatory for the people from that part of the world, and we shouldn't look at anybody in that sense. But I don't want any state-backed entity owning a football club, let alone the football club that I love. So no, I don't want to become a tool for public relations, basically. And I don't care if there was a local businessman done good from Qatar, Saudi, Abu Dhabi. I don't care where you're from. To me, it's about just making sure that there's no interference or our football club isn't being used or manipulated for other means. If you want to buy it for your ego and have it as your crown jewel that you want to lavish love on, brilliant. As long as you're not backed by a state, in my opinion. I don't want the Irish government, the Saudi Arabian government, the American government, the English government, the Australian. I don't want any government interference in owning a football club because I don't believe it's a level playing field. Nobody can go up against a country's wealth. Nobody. That is ridiculous. So we can't get to a place where it's a race to the bottom and a pissing contest between the egos of world leaders. That's not what sport's about. So that's why I've always been opposed to any state-backed ownership of a club. It's got nothing to do with the part of the world that people are from. It's got everything to do with it not being what Liverpool's about. Who was that pleb calling Scousers thick? I don't know what you're on about, mate. Oh, this lad? Sorry. I just seen the comment there. So, Nasser, firstly, my friend, you've come in calling everyone Scousers when we're Liverpool fans, mate. We aren't Scousers. I'm from Dublin, initially in Ireland. Many of these people are from other parts of the world. So you come in and you say, how thick are you all, blah, 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 blah. Imagine I used your surname, Khan, to stereotype you and your entire country. How do you think that might work? Why is it okay for you to come in and be derogatory towards Scousers, whereas if I or anybody else attacked your region of the world, or any region of the world, and painted a stereotypical picture of stupidity or whatever, we'd be cancelled, and rightly so. So I don't know, whatever goes through your very, very narrow mind, how you think everybody else deserves and should respect you, but you shouldn't show that same respect to the rest of the world. That, my friend, is where I draw a line. Because nobody in here would dare, nor would they be allowed to mock or knock where you come from and call you thick. So it definitely isn't acceptable for you to come in and do it. Particularly when you're thick as pig shit yourself. So if you want to go and have a debate, no problem. But you lose. Scousers are the soundest people on earth. Exactly, but we're not Scousers. Some of you may be Scousers, but we are all Reds. We're all Liverpool fans. But I'm a dub. I'm from Ireland, very proudly so. But yeah, I mean, again, to tar all Liverpool fans, you're all thick. It's just childish, silly, stupidity bullshit that I'm too old and cranky to care about. And yes, Mr. Royal Navy veteran, I think you've been given quite a lot of leeway in the chat here. But again, you don't get to come in and belittle my community. If you think that we are wrong about the owners, explain your point. Put across why we're wrong. But you don't get to come in and just tell everyone that they're thick or narrow-minded or small-minded. Contribute or fuck off. Very simple. In the DM position, I'm so confused. Surely Morton and Steph going means a new DM. And not necessarily. I mean, they could look at it from the perspective of, we've got Gravenberch and Endo, and then we've got others who can do the role, like McAllister. So maybe they just don't think they can give enough minutes or squad appearances to the likes of Bajcetic. And with Stefan, I think it's really important this year that he does get a lot of football. He has to play. He has to build back up that muscle memory and that rhythm. So I think I understand both of those moves, but I would like to see at least a clause to claw them back or bring one of them back if we need them. Someone said that's cold, Craig. Mate, again, I'm going to say this really clearly. How you come in and treat people in our community is how I'm going to treat you. So if you come in and you've got a sincere, genuine question, you want to contribute, you want an answer, or you want to start a debate, welcome in, let's go. If you come in thinking you're better than other people, talking down and punching down to people, you're not going to last very long in here, because that's not the community that we've built, nor are we going to put up with it. Explain your stance or say nothing. That's the way I look at it. If you want to say people are wrong about the owners, no problemo. Explain why and let's debate it. But you don't get to just take swings at people because you're frustrated. That's just childish, and I've no time for that. Respect is a minimum, you know, and it means a lot to me that people show each other respect. We don't all have to agree, absolutely not, but we do have to be grown up about these things. So David Massa said, I'm a Scouser, we're all family at Anfield Agenda. Exactly. We are, mate. We're all one big dysfunctional family. But as I said, respect is important to me. And if you give it, you'll get it back. And that's what I've learned about our community as well. If you show them the respect and kindness that they will absolutely show you, you're on to a winner. Craig, are you trying to say cans are bad? Are you an idiot? Genuinely. Oh my fucking God. I can't even. Nope. No, I'm not even going to reply to that because it's so dumb that it is not deserving of my time, mate. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, mate. All cans everywhere in the world, especially Amir, are bad. That was my point. It definitely wasn't, how would you feel if we were talking about you in the same way you're talking about us? Oh, fuck me. Just, where is he gone? Yeah, off you go, mate. Honestly, just do one. Jamal, I missed your super chat, my friend. My apologies. Let me bring that up for you now. Wouldn't centre-back be a priority with Ryan solid in central defensive midfield? So again, with Ryan, he's looking good. And certainly I can see why Arne Slot would think he can be moulded into the position. And you're right, centre-back is a priority, especially if we lose Joe. But we don't have cover. So if Ryan became unavailable for whatever reason, Endo isn't able to do the job that Arne Slot wants Ryan to eventually be able to do, and is starting to do well. So it's again about competition and about options. You can't just have one. I think we need to have two who the manager truly believes in. Yeah, I mean, look, people are very quick to scream racism, xenophobia, and hate at the rest of us. And I've put up with it for years on this channel. Every time I said Salah had a bad game, people accused me of being racist, Islamophobic. And it got to the point where I was losing faith in my own community. So to see somebody again try to twist the situation where somebody's come in and mocked Scousers into somehow trying to say, are you saying all cans are bad? It is the most poor attempt at mental gymnastics I've ever seen. It's like, stop looking for racism that doesn't exist and concentrate on the shit that is out there that needs to be stopped. Because if you know anything, and that commenter, that Mo Salah account, has been on this channel long enough to know that I don't give a damn what part of the world you're from. You are welcome in here. Whether you're Asian, African American, white, I don't care. If you come in and show us respect, I'll give it back to you in spades, and you will be embraced by everybody here. But I'm sick of people looking for underlying stuff in every single statement, comment or post. It's tiring, and it belittles the genuine problems and racism and hate that is in the world. It's people like that gobshite that are trying to twist people into seeing something that isn't there, that don't understand the ones that are truly being marginalised and hated and vilified, that need our help and our support. It belittles the whole argument. And maybe sometimes I do view my job as to educate people a little bit on these type of things, because I don't know who I'm talking to. When I see a comment, I don't know if I'm talking to a 10-year-old boy or girl or a 70-year-old man or woman. I don't know what part of the world they're from. I don't know anything about them other than their name. Maybe a little profile picture. So I view my job on here as twofold. To be a role model for some people who haven't had maybe the grounding I was lucky enough to have in some ways in life. And I try to be a positive role model and talk about inclusiveness and love and positivity, because that's important to me. But equally, I get wound up by people trying to twist things because it's vicious, and all they're trying to do is destroy someone's character for no reason. Do you think we might have some business in the January window? By then we can't have the excuse with Slot not being familiar with the squad. So the January window is always a difficult one in general, isn't it? Because usually if you're going into the market in January, it's because you're in trouble. And the club you're approaching will argue straight back to you that, well, one, they know you're a bit desperate, and two, they won't want to lose a player halfway through a campaign either. Excuse me. And on top of that, you can make the argument that how quickly will the player adapt to the system, to the league? Is it worth doing it in January? I certainly wouldn't be saying give them a pass on this window and hope that it changes in January, because that's happened a lot over transfer windows with us, and I don't really think that kicking the can down the road has ever came back to be a good thing for us. I believe we've been manipulated into accepting it on a few occasions where we shouldn't have. Mike has a question for me and the chat. I want a new black kit. Do I get Szoboszlai or Chiesa on the back? That's a personal question, mate. I mean, who would I say? Of those two, Szoboszlai, probably. But I bought that new kit myself. Well, the new jersey. It is lovely, but I still haven't been able to wear it yet because this is so sad. I can't bring myself to wear it while I'm still so angry about this window. And angry at myself for actually believing Zubimendi was going to happen and spending the money. So, whatever works for you, my man. McAllister would always be my number one if I was trying to convince my young lad rather to get a name on a shirt. Are we going to have a 12-hour live stream on deadline day? Do you know what? I've freed up the whole day. I don't know what's going to happen, but I've freed up the entire day. So I will be on standby on Friday without a shadow of a doubt. What that converts into with regards to streams, I don't know at the minute. The fact people bring in identity politics, this is a fun sports station, to be polite to political narrow-minded people, piss off. I'm here to yarn about the team I love. Exactly. That's it, Benjamin, and I echo that sentiment. And I apologise for my part in the conversation as well, because as the chat rightly says to me, don't bite on it, don't move past it, but I am only human, and that's one of my triggers, unfortunately. Just keep it on, buddy. You make it a welcoming place from Gory myself. Nice one. Well in, Gary. Great little town, isn't it? I don't know if you're born and bred here, mate. I've lived here for 14 years now. I love it. I love Gory, mate. I love living here. I love everything about the place, mate, to be honest with you. Right, what's this one? So Dave O.C. Kopp has just said Stefan Bajcetic is set to complete a loan move to Salzburg after they qualified for the Champions League. Bobby Clark and Stefan Bajcetic are set for Champions League football together. So one of those obviously is a permanent move, but it is just a good move. A good move, good experience, at a good level, and I think it will stand Liverpool in good stead. But again, with all due respect to all of these stories, still nothing on a centre-back. And that worries me. Because let's say we're talking about selling Joe, right? Let's say Palace come in with an offer to buy Joe. It's already Tuesday and we're really late, so you're into Wednesday. You've got to get both medicals done on both sides of it, both sets of paperwork done on both sides of it, and your replacement as well. It's a lot to be doing here in a short window of time. So I'm hoping every day when I get up that we're further along than we are, because now I feel like we're at a point of what's the phrase here? Hope rather than expectation. I'd like to see some concrete stuff. I'd like to know Chiesa's on a plane. I'd like to know Palace have had a bid in for Gomez and we're looking at a replacement, or that there isn't a bid coming in for Gomez and Gomez is staying and we won't be getting a centre-back. I'll still think it's the wrong decision for us not to strengthen, but there's just a lot of faith having to be given over here for these last 3 days. Craig, if you get the Chiesa deal tomorrow, do you think he could be in the squad for the weekend? So if my memory's right, it has to be registered before midday on Friday. I could well be off on that one. Do I think he'll be in the squad? Probably not, no. I think the most sensible thing to do would be let him get settled. So let him find a place to live. Let him go into the international break and do whatever he needs to do, and then have him for afterwards. I wouldn't imagine there'd be any involvement, especially because he hasn't been playing competitive football either. He's not getting any minutes at Juventus at the minute, so I wouldn't expect him till after the international break. Danny Olmo goal for Barca on debut. Fair play. Yeah, look, he got to move back to a club that he wanted to go back to, and he scored on his debut. I mean, that's pretty much what you want, right? As a player and a fan, if you bring in a player and you sign them, you want them to have a good debut, so credit where it's due. Right, Tobias Bakke said, not quite sold on loaning Stefan Bajcetic to Salzburg. We should find a better league for him to develop in, preferably in the Premier League. But he is going to be playing Champions League football, Tobias, and that is a very high level. He's also working with a coach that we know will develop him well over there in Pep Linders. So I think it's a good move. I wouldn't have been against the Premier League loan either, but I think he's probably got more opportunity to get minutes over in Salzburg, and that's the most important thing for me right now with Stefan, is getting him back up to getting those minutes in his legs, gaining the experience, and as I said, Champions League football, that's going to be good for him. Hopefully we don't get drawn against Salzburg. I mean, that would be, we don't want to be coming up against Clark and our own boy Bajcetic. Craig, if we sign the number 6, said Mohammed. How are we, Mohammed? By the way, welcome in, bro. If we sign the number 6, a centre-back and Chiesa, can we see a repeat of that topless celebration? I think we'd have to wait till we actually lift the trophy for that one, but I may look, I would have no complaints. Mohammed, if we ended the window, mate, with what you've said there, how could I be unhappy? We'll have addressed the areas that we needed to. And I'm fair about these things. This window was all about the 3 signings. A forward, a centre-back and a midfielder. If those were done, you know, I can argue whether I think they're the right signings or not, but I can't say that hasn't been addressed. So, but I don't, like somebody in the chat there, who is it? Lloyd, I don't see us getting a number 6 in either at this point. Dave saying a 4-year deal being discussed for Chiesa. Makes sense. I think 4 years is a reasonable deal. If it goes well inside the first year to 18 months, then you can talk about a little extension. If it's mid-ranging and you're not sure about his future, it gives you enough time on that contract that you could probably command a decent enough transfer fee. I think 4 years sounds about right. Any truth on Kingsley Coman coming to Liverpool? No. I think he's off to the Saudi League. Let me just check my notes on that. 1 second. Because there was talk of Kingsley Coman and Liverpool, but maybe someone in the chat can help me out here. I don't believe that we're in for him anyway, even though we've been linked. I'm sure I seen somewhere today he could be off to the Saudi League. Could we get Gordon? Could we? Yes. Will we? Probably not if you're already bringing in another forward now. I think with Anthony Gordon this summer, it was more than likely if we were to lose Diaz or somebody came in, then Gordon would be the one we would have moved for. Carl said, would you come back live if something big breaks? Well, I'm going to stay here till 11, mate. So stick with me and we'll know if anything breaks, because we'll have the morning's papers at that point as well. Haven't got a question, Craig. Just want to support the channel and say thanks for the community you've built. Hope that fella's daughter is okay. Cal, thank you. Thank you for looking out for and asking after Essex Copite's daughter. Class act, mate. Appreciate it. And thank you as well for your the thought behind your super chat, mate. Thank you so much. Love to see Gordon in January. Salah's apprentice, said Harry Klein. I do think he'll be a Liverpool player at some point. I really do. Carabao Cup draw. Oh, cool. Keep me up to date with the Carabao Cup draw, because of course third round is when we come into it. So yeah, keep me up to date on that one. LFC, you'll never walk alone. Thank you, mate. Appreciate your kind words. Do you think Chiesa can be a signing that can turn out better than initially thought for us? I think the answer to that question is probably a very personal one that depends on what your expectation levels are on the signing. For me, I would say I don't have particularly high expectations, because the price for me makes the risk worth it. I don't even know what I would view as a good first season. I guess we'll know it when we see it, right? But I'm not expecting him to come in and be a huge deciding factor in our season. But if he can contribute, stay fit, and give the manager options, absolutely worth the money. So the draw is tomorrow for the Cup. Sorry, I was just going by what somebody said in the chat. So yeah, tomorrow for the Cup draw. But we are in the third round of it because, of course, we're in the Champions League. What's this? We've already gone through that one. 1 second. Thanks for replying to Mohammed. What be realistic ideal centre back? So Branthwaite and Antonio Silva would be the two for me. That would be my first choices for centre back. Number 6, honestly, mate, I don't know. I wanted Ederson from Atalanta all summer, but it certainly doesn't look like that's possible, especially because Coop Miners looks like he's... Well, we're probably going to help Juventus get Coop Miners when we bring in Chiesa. So, yeah, they're the only ones that I've been really speaking about. What shirt number do you think suits Chiesa? We asked this earlier on, and overwhelmingly number 14 was the number that people were putting into the chat. So let's check in on the poll that we did put up. You've already cast over 3,000 votes on it, so do keep voting away. And again, if you are new in, please do hit that subscribe button and drop a like for us. Defensive midfielder is the number one priority for the Anfield Agenda audience. 64% of you guys think that is the most in demand or in need position. Centre back is second with 30%, and then left back and right wing are minuscule. I have to say, I'll probably differ with the majority there. I think there's less chance of us becoming stuck for bodies in midfield. I think centre back, there's more chance of us genuinely having to struggle or shoehorn somebody in. So I would say right now, personally, I think centre back. But again, it is all about personal choices, and whatever helps us keeping them clean sheets, I'm all happy with. I think I've done this one, but in case I didn't, I'll do it again. Harry said, love to see Gordon in January, Salah's apprentice. Cal Down said, one to watch. My mate's a Stoke fan, and I went to the game with him last week. Kumas looks ace. Goal and woodwork twice Saturday. Goal and assist today. Yeah, it's a loan that's looking like it's going well so far, Cal. And like yourself, I'm excited by young Lewis Kumas and his prospects, as well with Jayden Danns. Don't forget, poor old Jayden Danns is in a difficult situation at the minute because he's out with a back injury, meaning he's not going to get a loan move. So he's going to be probably treading water until January, most likely, unless he wins Arnott around very quickly, and maybe he's the one who's challenging Jota for the number 9. I don't know. Sorry, just going through some of your comments here, trying to catch up on something. Hincapié for Liverpool, big cash deal suits me, said Giant Gifts. Mate, I'm being entirely honest with you. I have not got a clue who the centre-back target would be. You could have given me the actual answer and I still don't know if it's right or wrong. I haven't got a clue. I'm as excitedly nervous about it as everybody else. I really would love to get some clarity at least on what's happening with Joe first. Because if we know Palace put in an offer for Joe, let's say, or Villa put in an offer, at least then we know what we're dealing with. Right now it's kind of the unknown. We don't know what's happening with Gomez. We need to sign Broccoli. Nobody ever needs to sign Broccoli, J Muse. Nobody. Why can't we make a statement? It's so underwhelming and so frustrating. I understand you, Pascas, mate. I do. And I would love that statement signing as well. The Caicedo signing last summer would have been, in my opinion, an incredible statement and would have made us real title challengers. You can talk about how he didn't perform at Chelsea, but I still believe at Liverpool he would have done better. Zubamendi, again, I think many of us would have said, I can totally understand, and we would have been on board with that, but didn't come through. For me, the frustration comes in how many times we've tried to do it and not managed to get a number 6 over the line. You start to ask why, because it's been under different regimes as well. So with the likes of Tchouaméni, it was very clear he just wanted to go from Monaco to Madrid, and he was always upfront and honest about that, and that was straightforward. Then you've got the Caicedo deal, where we came in last minute after showing interest a while before, but going cool on it, and then trying to hijack it last minute. That didn't work. And then we made a mess of the Lavia deal, offering to pay more than we were unwilling to pay beforehand because we had a valuation that we weren't going to go past. And we didn't even get that done. But then I said to myself, that was under George Schmadtke and Jurgen Klopp. That wouldn't happen under Edwards and Hughes. And I think I even said as much. And then it did. So right now I feel really disillusioned and really frustrated at the inability to bring in a number 6. It's almost like a running joke at this point how many opportunities we've had to do it and haven't managed. David Brimmer said, too many ads. So there's a really simple answer for that for you, David. I'm not going to go in on you, mate, and I'm not going to moan about it. Think of it like this. Do you pay for this content? No. Now, some people are members, some people send super chats, but you don't pay for it. Now, look at the Liverpool fan content market and look at the three big players in it. Anfield Rap, ourselves, and Red Men TV. And what's the one difference between the three channels? None of our content is behind the paywall. And I'm not judging people for using a paywall. Everybody makes their own decisions. Our decision is to provide free content to people and make sure that there's no barriers of entry for anybody in any part of the world to come join our community and watch the content. I also have to earn a living. And if you think watching a 30-second ad is too much, then buy YouTube Premium. But this weird level of entitlement that you want everything now, you don't want to have a distraction of an ad, you don't want the person that you're coming in to watch and you're supposed to admire being able to make a living from it without going behind a paywall. Do you see where I'm coming from? Like, I'm trying to be open and honest with you. Of course there's going to be ads, because that's how the YouTube model works. You get ads, you make money, or you get sponsorship, or you get super chats. But either way, mate, the revenue has to be made, the bills have to be paid, and it's a very difficult balancing act to try and keep content free and keep everybody happy. You know, I don't want to use a paywall. I've never wanted to use a paywall because I don't think it's right for what we want to do. So if you have to watch a few ads and it bugs you, I'm sorry about that, sincerely, but there's nothing going to change about it, mate, because it is what it is, you know. And again, as I said, I say that with every bit of sincerity, no anger or anything. I'm just trying to explain it to you honestly. Right, Andrew said Núñez to Arsenal, yes please. I mean, I don't for 1 second believe that that's going to happen. It wouldn't look well on us as the selling club, for first and foremost. The detective, thank you for your super chat, said send them by Chetty to Morton on loan doesn't make sense considering the lack of DM options. Do you see a stopgap, maybe someone like Kimmich? No, I don't think. Endo was the stopgap. Stopgap still costs money. So for me anyway, mate, you go and you sort it out properly. My dad used to have a phrase to me that said buy cheap, buy twice. And it's something I've tried to think about in life in general. So with this position, it's a really important one we get right. So I'd like to see us spend the money. Craig, you spend too much time explaining yourself then, mate. Keep doing what you're doing. No, I think it's fair for people to have it explained to them, you know. I've never really spoken about the revenue model on the channel, to be honest with you. So I'm absolutely open to people not understanding it. So I've no problem when somebody makes a comment like that to try and explain it to them, you know. It's and I think, you know, I tried to be respectful. I didn't swear or shout, or I was just explaining the way that it works here, and you know, it is what it is. Again, just more continuous talk with Chiesa and Liverpool, but no agreement as of yet that we've seen, or no incoming plane with medical due. We have MAMARDASHVILI. Yes, we do. That's done, completed. Craig, who's worse, Anthony Taylor or Simon Hooper? Hooper, I think. I don't think Taylor's the worst referee in the world, but I don't like the idea of a Manchester or Greater Manchester referee refereeing a game between Liverpool and Manchester United. It seems like, as I mentioned earlier on, it just doesn't look good to me. And again, Anthony Taylor is a professional referee, and I have a lot of respect for him, particularly since that situation with Christian Eriksen at the Euros. I thought he handled that whole situation remarkably well. But there's a lot of a lot of questions that could be drawn from it that could have been avoided. So again, loads of people keep coming in saying Darwin to Arsenal. Has it come from anybody even semi-respectable? Or is it still just Twitter talk? Because if Joyce or Ornstein, Romano, Pierce, anybody comes out and says it, then maybe we'll have the conversation about it. But right now it's just Twitter talk. Kev said, if it's not broken, don't fix it, is my opinion. Would you be satisfied if we didn't make any signings? No. And it is broke, Kev. Let me explain why I think it's broke, mate. First 11, on a par with anyone. Good enough to take on anyone, mate. But what we've seen over the course of a few seasons is that we've fallen away at the end. Whether that be fatigue from people being overplayed, the system asking too much of them, injuries, suspensions. To me, mate, it all comes back to a lack of depth and a lack of quality depth. Now, I like how Arne Slot's gone about his business, Kev, and that he's seemingly trying to adjust those minutes to make sure he can prevent as many injuries as possible. And I'm on board with that as well. I think that's really good. But it is broke. We didn't win the league last year, mate. We didn't win the Europa League last year. So there's room for improvement. And when there's room for improvement in any aspect of your life, I think you should always be looking to try and make that improvement. How are Chelsea getting away with spending? So it looks like from the outside, Chelsea are preparing for a potential transfer ban by front loading and signing a load of players right now. Also, the way that they're able to do this financially is the length of these deals. So they're putting lads across 6, 7, 8 year contracts, which makes the numbers smaller each year that you have to put in your balance sheet. When you amortize them across the 6, 7 years, it makes the number far less influential than if you brought a player in on a 4-year contract. But it also gives you a problem if these players don't work out, because then you're moving on players who are on decent money on long-term contracts, and it's difficult to get them out the door. So it's a big risk for Chelsea. Excuse me, like yourself, mate, I've no idea how Bowley spent 1.3, 1.4 billion. And somehow hasn't broken the rules. It doesn't, I can't explain it. So AFC Camden Nunes tweet. Yes, we've talked about the AFC Camden. Who is who exactly? He's a Twitter account who pays for the blue tick. Other than that, mate, I don't know anything about the lad. I've not seen a journalist or anybody associated with either side of this deal from the media speak about the possibility of Darwin and Arsenal. So I'm treating it with I'm treating it as bullshit, basically, at this moment in time. Trinidad in the house. TK, how are we, my man? Much love to you, my friend, over in Trinidad. God, I bet you the weather's a lot nicer than it is here. It was raining and miserable today, mate. Chiesa flight in the air, said Rogo. Goy, is it? I mean, I hope you're right, mate. I've certainly not seen anybody else talk about even an agreement yet. Oh, Grizz, how are you, mate? Nice to see you in. And thank you. Appreciate it. You know yourself, mate. It's been a long journey to get to this point, Grizz. So appreciate you dropping in. Say hello, sir. Glad that we had that little interaction behind the scenes a while back where we cleared the air. And yeah, I hope life's treating you well, mate. Sincerely, I hope life's treating you well. It's nice to reminisce and catch up sometimes. When registering players in the player registration system, they must be registered 2 days prior to the player playing and when the registration is confirmed. Perfect. Thank you, Grim Reaper. So yeah, then it would be what? have to be on the Friday at the latest before any possible appearance on the Sunday. So thank you, mate, for that. Liverpool want to sell Joe Gomez and sign Jared Branthwaite. Arsenal and Barcelona interested in Darwin. Look, I would love Branthwaite to come in. Mate, I would be over the moon with Branthwaite if he came in. But there's a couple of things about that. One, obviously, Everton would lose their mind, the Everton fans, which only makes it more attractive to me, if I'm being honest. He hasn't played yet this season. I think he's still out with a knock. And look, I'd love it to be the case. I would be over the moon if we signed Branthwaite. I'd be very, very happy. Of course, losing Joe is going to be difficult because of his versatility and his professionalism, and you can't but feel fond about Joe Gomez. But it's always seemed like if Joe moves on, it's because he wants game time, and the club are trying to be respectful of his service as well. And I've understood that, but we do have to have a replacement. Look at who we signed last year. Right? I don't know the context to what you're trying to say there, mate. Last year I was happy with probably 80% of the business we did last year. Szoboszlai, I'm really happy with. McAllister, absolutely incredible signing. Gravenberch, I'm happy with now. I was a bit dubious about it first, but I'm certainly happy we did. Endo, it was a stick and plaster, and his chances at Liverpool look to have taken a big dent since Arna came in, who doesn't really fancy him for the way he wants to play. So yeah, look, last year was a decent window, absolutely. Apparently Barca are about to get a windfall from Nike. I'm trying to think of remembering what this was. I know what you're talking about. I've seen something written about it, but I just can't remember exactly what it is. But Barca should just stop at this point. They should stop digging the hole bigger and bigger and bigger and leveraging the club against future earnings. And it's just too risky. They should stabilise for a bit. Trust the kids from La Masia who are coming through. The likes of Lamine Yamal and some great talent that's there, and stop trying to dig this hole bigger and bigger and bigger, because right now they're redoing the new camp, they're playing at the Olympic Stadium, and they're overstretching themselves. Thoughts on the third kit? I think it's okay, but I don't like this upturned Nike tick. Now, at least now I understand what it's about, which I didn't before. So this upturned Nike tick on the new kit is about supporting and showing the growth of women's sport and women's football. And again, as a principle, no problem with that, but I just don't like the way it looks. I can't get past the way it looks, and I won't be buying it anyway. Apparently, Arsenal and Barcelona are interested in signing Darwin. I mean, even if we accepted for a minute that Darwin could be sold, where do you get the replacement in such a short time? And that's my concern. People are rightfully divided on where they are with Darwin. Some people are in my camp and think they're willing to give him another season, particularly because it's a new coach. Some people think they've seen enough and they just don't think he'll have consistency. And I think all points have validity to them, and I can get where people are coming from. But the simple thing for me is, if you sell him, who will you replace them with that quickly? But if it was possible and it was done and we ended up with somebody the manager was happier with, again, I want Arne to look at the squad and feel happy and content. The business is down to others to do with the club. Now we get to judge it, I guess, and say what we think about it. It just seems more talk about forwards and not enough about midfielders and centre backs. It might a nice jersey look like something went wrong. Yes, I'm on that as well. Who was that? Neski. I think it was a decent enough jersey. Absolutely. Thank you, Mark, by the way, for the messages in the background there, mate. So someone said, bro, you never liked the kit and always say you won't be buying it. Did I? It's really funny you say that, because I'm almost fucking certain I said earlier on that I bought the black kit this season and I liked it. I'm almost positive I said that, and I'm almost positive I said that it's upstairs in a bag at the bottom of the wardrobe, because I'm still pissed off that I bought it thinking we were getting Zubamendi and I was happy. So, again, I'm absolutely okay for being held to account for stuff, but you're wrong. And am I going to get an apology from you? I bet not, because it's easier to be a smart arse, isn't it? And also, I don't like Nike and Liverpool. I've never hidden that. I don't think it's been a good fit, and I don't think that they've done a good job with the merchandise that they've brought to the table. So, and what does it matter to you if I don't like it? And no, I don't have them all, mate. You're such a weird little fucking freak. Just do one. Honestly, like, grow up. And if I have every single one of them, what does that matter to you? Or if I have none of them, it's just so weird. Have I seen the leaked Adidas Goalkeepers kit? Yes, I have. I think it looked nicer with the shorter sleeves, because the grey arms look a little bit, I don't know, it just looks a bit weird. I like the colour, the green and the other thing, but yeah, I think with the shorter sleeves it'll look better. Craig, what are you going to do with the Zuby shirt? No, I didn't. No, sorry. Maybe I explained that wrong, Kimu. I didn't buy the shirt and get Zubamendi on it. I bought this shirt thinking we were going to get Zubamendi and that the owners were actually going to go about doing their part of the bargain, which was giving the manager the funds and the players. So we were over in Liverpool for the live show. My wife went up to the club shop and bought me the away jersey, my son the away jersey, Connor got the jersey, and she bought herself the goalkeeper's kit. But then soon afterwards, the Zubamendi deal fell apart, and I haven't been able to look at the shirt yet, let alone wear it. So it is sitting upstairs in the wardrobe in a bag, but I'm just still frustrated over the window. So yeah, it's a bit pathetic, I know, like, but that's the honest truth. I'm still laughing at that lad's comment. Like, it's another thing where people just think I'm lying about an opinion, and yet I have all the kits hidden away somewhere. I don't like the Nike branding on a lot of the kits. I just don't think it's been good, and I can't wait for Adidas to be back. I've never hidden that, but it's also just a really weird take. Like, what would be the benefit of me lying about liking the Nike kits and having them all? Like, I don't understand how I somehow win in that scenario, or what I achieve in that scenario. It's just a really weird take. Darwin out would be the cherry on top for Outgoings. Darwin out with a replacement, maybe, but Darwin out would be insanity without any replacement. And I think again, this is more, my gut feeling is this is just more nonsense at the end of a transfer window on Twitter. But if you could change one thing about Liverpool, what would it be? I mean, look, the easy answer is to go back and talk about, obviously, Hillsborough and those lives not being lost. I mean, other than that, if I could change one thing about Liverpool now, what would it be? The season ticket waiting list. I wish that they found a way to make this really achievable for some people to get to more games. If I could figure out a way to get more fans, the ability to get to some games each year, I think that would be great, because that season ticket waiting list thing has been a problem since I was a teenager growing up. And now here we are in 2024, and it's still an issue, and it's still a divisive thing amongst fans. So I guess if I could figure out a way to help more people get to more games or make that possible, that'd probably be it. I also started Jota over Darwin. Thoughts, Craig? At the minute, 100% Diogo Jota deserves to be starting ahead of Darwin Núñez. For a few reasons. One, Jota had much more time working with the manager and has started the season well. So it's up to Darwin to earn his spot and take his opportunities when he gets them. And he looked like a fish out of water when he came on against Brentford. Kev, appreciate you, mate. Thank you. And have a good night, mate. Are we confident we get Chiesa done? Yeah, I feel quite confident at this point. Now, I don't have any information you don't have. But it definitely looks like that is heading in the right direction. But it still doesn't change what we started the whole stream with, which was, let's not get distracted. It's very good on its own merits, the Chiesa deal. MAMARDASHVILI, very good on its own merits. But it doesn't address the deficiencies that we all believed, or certainly I know I believed, we had going into this window. And the priority list for most people was some version of centre-back being first priority or a defensive midfielder being first priority. And if you don't address either of those two, it's a failure in the window for me. You can't bring in more forwards. And as I keep saying, you can't just keep putting a Ferrari front on a car and not finish in the back of it. So we need to get those positions sorted. And look, at this point, if you got in a centre-back, Chiesa came in, you signed MAMARDASHVILI, and there was somebody you were genuinely looking at for the six down the line, I wouldn't like it, but I'd live with it. But so far, we can only talk about what we've seen happen, and that's nothing other than MAMARDASHVILI come in, which is a good deal, but isn't going to be helpful to us in the short-term future. Joseph said, I won't lie, Craig, the Chiesa deal confused me at first when I saw it the other day, but looking at it now at the price, we could be getting him an absolute bargain. Yeah, it's one of those things, mate, where I think you look at the risk-reward ratio, you weigh it up, and you think, is it worth it? And for the right price, particularly at this price, I would say yes. Like Shaqiri, when we signed him from Stoke, people can talk about how they think that ended up, but at the time, again, I thought it's worth the risk. So, to me, Chiesa, for the potential upside, if it gets right, is worth the risk at the money we're talking about. Anne Smith said DM is our main priority. So, Anne, going into the summer, mate, I would have probably been on that level of thinking as well. But the way I've looked at it now, Anne, is we've got Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister and at least Endo as somebody who can at least play that position. So for me, I think we need another body more from the perspective of depth at centre-back right now because we've moved on Sepp van den Berg. So we don't have somebody, a fifth choice that we can at least think has a future at the club because Nat Phillips doesn't. So I think centre-back, because of the lack of depth we have there, numerically right now is more important. But if I could sign one position and get the right guy, I probably would come down on the side of a number 6. But again, I understand your point. Has anyone seen Ivan's tweet? The one where he retired? Because I thought he was giving up on the journalism. Craig, will you be happy with Chiesa? On its own merits, absolutely. But as I said, it's Chiesa's not going to take me away from my thinking that we need a centre-back and a number 6. But on its own merits, taken away from the rest of the window, absolutely, I think it's a good deal. He's back. My God. And I thought I used to leave Twitter and come back quite a bit. There you go. And look, I like Ivan. You know, he's always been very kind towards us. Do you think we'll go in for Zubimendi again next summer? And who would your choice be? So, do I think we go in for Zubimendi again? No, nor should we. He had his chance and he passed up. Who should we go in for? Haven't got a clue at this point. Ederson was my choice all summer. It doesn't look like we're following through on that, so I don't know who we look at. I don't know who the next target is going to be, who they're going to crunch the numbers on and figure out will be the best for slot system. I haven't got a clue. Bastoni, Ederson, 10 out of 10 window, but we can all dream. Look, even for Branthwaite, I'd be over the moon at this point. Oh yes, Liverpool are interested in signing Saliba. Yeah, that's absolutely possible. Sure, that'll happen. Arsenal will look around and go, right, we should sell Saliba to Liverpool. Yeah, that would go down well. Varela and Inacio before the window shuts. I don't think Inacio's good enough for Liverpool personally. I'd rather Branthwaite or Antonio Silva. I'd even rather Mark Gay than Inacio. Branthwaite has a release clause. Is that being confirmed? I'd seen a couple of people give mention of it, but I've got to be honest with you and say I don't know. So if he does have a release clause, I mean, if he has a release clause, it's an easy way for Everton to at least smooth that over. You know, if let's say hypothetically the player wanted the move and he has a release clause, well then it's easy for Everton to go, nothing we could do about it. You know, if he wanted to go, he wanted to go. But like if he does have a release clause, interesting. Thoughts on Nkapie? The few bits I've seen of him, he looks decent, but again, trying to think of him in our system, I don't know is the honest answer. I haven't really put much time into really looking at centre-backs because I've never known who the target might be, so I've never known who to really research. What about the youngster from Chelsea? Colwill. Sorry, Levi Colwill. Nothing to suggest Chelsea are willing to sell. Again, I'd love us to get him, but yeah, not seeing nothing to suggest it's going to happen. Right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go and record a roundup of where we're at. I've got a couple of WhatsApp messages I need to read through that I haven't got a chance to go through yet. So I'll be dropping a news video in the next 20 minutes or so. 1 second. His older deal, there was no release clause in Branthwaite's. I'm seeing that right here now from the deal he signed in 2023 has no release clause in it. I think it's a relegation release clause. That could make sense, yes. So that would make sense. Yeah, I think that would be in Linus. I think that would be in a lot of players' contracts like that. Yes, they would have a release clause in there for relegation. That makes sense. That I would very much imagine would be the case. Right, look, I'm going to go record this review of everything. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm recording with LFC fan, Liverpool fan in Japan, Simon, tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So that will be out by about 5:30. It'll be coming out on video and on podcast, so do keep an eye for it. And certainly do go over and subscribe to Liverpool fan in Japan as well. Really nice guy. Yeah, thank you for tonight. I'll do my best to give you some more updates in this video. I just have a load of messages to read through in the background here. So give me about 15 minutes and hopefully that video should be up soon enough. Thank you. Do hit that subscribe button for me before you head off. Drop a like and thank you as well. Don't forget our live show as well if you want to come and see us. Tickets in the description. Talk to you later. Bye bye.